So after that presentation from Lindsay, if you guys could specifically share your stories, like I want you guys to spread the word about that too. But I know since you guys are here on CSU, we just have something to talk about. So if you guys could all share your stories, that'd be awesome. That'd really help out the marketing department. So that's all I have for that. RFK Awards. So RFK is the Robert F. Kennedy Award for Teaching Achievement, and nominations for that are due tomorrow evening. So if you guys know of someone who's spoken very highly of a professor or something, or if you guys know a professor who's done exceptional in and out of the classroom, if you guys want to nominate them, that'd be great. And we'll be selecting that person in a few weeks at one of our cabinet meetings, and they'll be recognized at the graduation ceremony this summer, I guess. It's coming up quick. And last thing I have is MLK Day legislation. So last semester, one of the committees brought up having MLK Day off to have like a day of service. And this semester it's kind of just nothing has been done with that. So the administration is wondering if that's something we want to continue on with and pursue, or if that's something that we just want to let go. So,
and I guess some background on all of that is we did present and pass legislation for that day, and the feedback that we got back was like we need an actual event. So our thoughts were that we were going to try and take the day off and instead have a day of service. And Dr. O'Connor wanted to say, like, well, what would that service look like? So we just kind of, if anyone is interested in that,
and if anyone wants to take this up as well, in my meetings with the CCSJ, OMA, campus ministry, all of them really wanted this legislation to pass. And the CCSJ, like especially, they're talking about it's hard to like coordinate a day of service, but it's easy to like group with like community partners and go to like historical sites, go to like African American museums and things, and just like stuff in like that topic. It's easy to coordinate. Say, like, hey, we're gonna have a group of students go over there for a half hour, and you just like tell them about what you do over here. So it doesn't need to be this giant massive service, but we can set up those events. So you can be working closely with people in CCSJ and the MLK committee to set that kind of stuff up.
Could it just be service on campus too?
yeah. We just need.
It needs to be like a set thing. You can't just say, oh, we're gonna perform service on the campus. We need like they want like a set like because these students are gonna do this.
Could we have a speaker instead of?
There's so many. I don't know. You would if you were to do it, you could talk to the MLK committee about that because they do a full week of speakers and presentations, so we could tie stuff into that.
I couldn't. I don't know.
Sarah?
Maybe similar to Creighton Cleanup, because that works pretty well as like a community-wide day of service. I mean, not
Great turnaround.
So, and that could be a great
semester. So.
And I think what we need to do moving forward is if we're still interested and we still want to make this happen, we need a couple of you to kind of stand up and write again another piece of legislation that will kind of outline more clearly what we're thinking, so that can be passed on to Dr. O'Connor administration. So are there anyone that is interested in kind of taking that on?
Edie and Sarah and Trevor.
Yeah.
Ruby?
Awesome.
Thank you. We can discuss after too, and I can pass on that past legislation and whatever.
I'll let the administrators know that this is something we're still interested in, and that we'll be getting something to them soon. That's all I have.
Okay, now we'll hear from Zach.
Hi guys. Just one thing for me tonight. So on Thursday, I met with the Omaha Police Department Northeast Precinct Advisory Council with Michelle. So basically, that's just kind of giving like an update on what like crime is doing, like up in Northo. So the Northeast Precinct is kind of basically north of Cumming or north of like Bergmore Street to like 35th Street that way. So like there's that big section. Anyway, so they just kind of gave like a crime update. That's like not a lot to worry about. But the biggest thing were like the events happening up in there. So each like neighborhood within Northo have their own little like representative, president, if you will. They're just kind of talking about their different events that they do, and a lot of the stuff that Creighton like helps out with or is involved with. The biggest thing coming up is the neighborhood cleanups. Each of the neighborhoods around this time of year sets up like a cleanup day. So different people from the community like clean up a park or like help a neighbor like clean up their yard or something like that. And typically we always send like 5 to 10, not really send, but like have like 5 to 10 volunteers go out and help them out. There was 2 in particular. that we've always like historically had things with. So I'll be sending you guys info on that soon. Then we're also gonna be sending out to like student orgs, to cabinet, to grad schools, and everything, just to see if we can get some volunteers to go out there. It's on the 18th, April 18th, from 9 to 2. You don't have to stay the whole time. Just looking for like 5 to 10 volunteers for a few hours to go out there and just put like our faces like and help them out with it. Because the biggest thing, I was talking with Michelle, some people in those neighborhood groups kind of like look to Creighton as like obviously like a great source for like service and good people. Yet some of them feel how that like we're just kind of secluded, like oh no, we're Creighton, we don't really care about what's happening in Northo, which like obviously isn't true. So it's good to like be out there like and active, helping the community. So when things do come up, and Michelle was saying like this has happened before, like these meetings can get kind of heated and they'll kind of attack Creighton kids. Yeah, and so it's good to have those people in the neighborhood that says like no, like Creighton has helped us with these things, with this event and whatnot. So there's certain events that we do, and this is like always a good gesture to send some people out there. So I'll send you guys more information on that. Just be on the lookout. It'll be awesome. It's like this isn't a mandatory event, but it'd be great if we got a couple of you guys step up and go out there just for a few hours just to help them out. They're awesome people. I know a big thing with like honestly like safety as soon as you hear Northo, it's honestly like not one of those things gonna be in the middle of the day. Like when there's events like this happening, this is like the farthest thing from like that is gonna attract people like that. Like I know like even I was talking to Michelle, so I'm just gonna be like straight up open about this. It's like a scary thing because like you hear like things that happen in Northo, you hear about Northo and you're like, oh no, like these group of people that go around and like help their neighborhoods are like you don't mess with them. People in the, like the gangs, whatever, the bad people in Northo, like no, like you don't mess with these people. So you're gonna be like totally fine if you do volunteer. So that's what I'm getting at. It's like don't worry about like stuff like that because it's like not gonna happen. So and it's a great opportunity. It's awesome. They're like awesome, like the nicest people like ever. So yeah, be on the lookout for that information. That's all I got.
Thank you. Now we'll hear from Alex.
Still got reports. Everyone wants money. So we got 3 requests this past week, and we also heard 1 at cabinet. So first we heard from Justice Without Borders, who is throwing their annual staff and worker appreciation banquet. It's for all workers around campus and especially Sodexo workers that can bring their families, and Creighton students make them a spaghetti dinner. Our request was approved pending them getting a catering exclusivity form, which they've gotten the past 4 years, so they're not too worried about it. But that's kind of what we're looking at. And they were funded in full. It's been happening for 5 years, and it's really nice to get back to the community. This is one of their big reasons for it. Is there any call for rep review on that one? Cool. Then we heard from Phi Sigma Alpha, who were approved in full for their Politics in Action alumni panel. Another event that they have. It's one of their only events that they throw every year. They have 2 events primarily. And basically they've invited 4 alumni who are in the area serving politics to come and talk to. It's open to all students, but primarily the political science major students who may be interested in politics down the line, or anyone that really has a fascination in politics, and it kind of helps have a networking event for those people. And this is needed to cover food from Sodexo, just to try and influence students to come and attend, because we're Creighton students and food always helps make a decision for us. Yeah, any call for rep review? Good. And lastly, we heard from a group of political science and international relations majors, and they requested $2,544 and were approved for about half. And basically this was because they wanted to go to a Political Science Association annual meeting, which is held in Chicago on April 16th through the 19th. All of the senior political science majors were asked to submit their papers to this conference, and 12 were chosen to be presenting in Chicago. The dean's office is covering $4,300 worth of this trip, and basically this was to pick up the rest of the tab. The Appropriations Committee felt that the students that are attending should have to at least cover some of the trip, so we decided it was most fair if CSU will pay for their hotels where they're staying at, well, they'll be asked to pay for their food. So that's where that number comes from. It's $117 per student per night, so that's where that number comes from. So is there any call for rep review on that one? Great. And lastly, this is our interdisciplinary funding line. So it's not heard at appropriations meetings, it's heard at the cabinet. And it pulls from a separate fund, which we still have enough money in to pay for this one. It was for $614.08, and pretty specific. It's for a dinner with the dean, And it brings together arts and science students, business students, and grad professional students, so they can all come together and meet with all of their deans at the same time. And non-traditional students, which kind of fill into all of those respective schools, but aren't your traditional undergrad that kind of are 20 years old. Basically what they're going to do is have 3 slots for each person from like the Art and Science Senate, the Business Senate, and the GSG Senate, and then they're going to open up a number of other slots to all the students in their respective schools, and this number just helps pick up the tab for dinner. And it was approved by cabinet. Is there any call for rep review? Great. So that's all I got. Next meeting, we're going to hear about the grand CSU budget. So be ready to hear about all the money. That's all I got.
Thank you, Alex. Now we'll hear from Maddie.
Hi guys. There's some exciting things happening in program board right now. We had a proposals meeting last weekend and it went really well. I can't necessarily tell you like everything that we voted through because it's not contracted yet, but we've got Fall Blues on the radar. We've got all the events for the next semester that I'll be working on contracts. Thank you to the couple of you that submitted proposal ideas. The board did propose them. Some of them got passed. So it's that. Upcoming events, Girl Code is happening tonight at 7, so in like an hour, and there's already people sitting on the staircase waiting for it, and it's gonna be really big. So you guys should really go, it's really funny. And then Spring Fling Week is coming up April 11th to 17th. So I'm gonna be shooting a lot of dates at you right now. April 11th is an excursion to the 4th campus, and tickets, like it's the little $5 deposit thing coming to the SAO. That's gonna start on Wednesday. It's also MJ's event, if you want to support MJ. The 12th, we're having a carnival to kind of kick off the week. That's more to come on that later. That'll be fun. The 13th, we're having Mondays after class, so MAC at 9 p.m. in Scott. And then 14th, which is Tuesday, CU's Got Talent. And then Wednesday is WAC. The 16th is a big one. That's Judy Shepherd. That's a Thursday, and CSU is in partnership with IRHG and GSA to host Judy Shepherd. I've told you guys about this already, but that's going to be in the Ryan Center. So we're also inviting Omaha alums. This is going to be like a really big event. So please come and like please tell people to come. I think it's a really important topic. And then the 17th is the concert, and we still have tickets available. So if you haven't found your ticket yet, or if you know people that haven't, they're still available in the SAO. Also, Spring Clean Week's theme is Raised with the Jays, like Raise R-A-Y-S with the Jays. And sorry, there's confusion about that last night. And then there's gonna be a lot of really fun giveaways like grow tanks and some really cool sunglasses. So make sure you come to the events so you can get those. That's that.
Thank you. All right. I forgot the rep spotlight sheets in my office. So, Chad was approved at our last full board meeting but wasn't in attendance. So we had Nick and Katie introduce themselves. So if you'd like to just tell us who you are and where you're from, what you're studying, that sort of thing.
Hello, my name is Chad Neary. I'm from Knoxville, Tennessee. I'm in the Southeast. I'm studying biochemistry, pre-med, organic grading. Is that it? Did I say anything else?
Share a fun fact.
Share a fun fact?
Sure.
I was the announcer for my high school. Like, I announced for like football games and some soccer games. Announced the morning announcements for high school.
Very cool. Awesome. Thank you, Chad. Okay, so today was another admitted students day. And Aditi and I were there talking to potential new CSU members. Most of them were confused what a student union was, but that's alright. So I have a Google Doc with all of like the signups for that. So if you can potentially make it, I don't want to like put it all on Aditi. But I'll send that out again, and if you could just kind of fill it in, like sure, stop by, and if you have a class and need to leave early, that's fine. But just to kind of relieve the burden on myself, that would be great. We will do reps at WAC. I think right now it's Sarah and maybe Anne Marie or Haley, one of you I have signed up for this week. I was just wondering, like while we're all together right now, can anyone come this week to WAC either from 1:30 to 2:30 or 2:30 to 3:30 if you have a class at 2 and want to leave early, or class at 3? so I don't have to bug you in an email. I don't think of nickels or food puns so many times I don't want to ask. So, does anybody else? You're good.
Julia, how many people do you need?
Not very many. It's up to you. You might be able to, sir? From the earlier part or the later half? The later one? Okay. I'll just send you an email and remind you.
WAC this week is gonna be pretty low key, just because we've had a lot of really expensive and like extravagant WACs in the past couple weeks. So like it's great if you guys come because it's not gonna be like super overbearing.
And if it is low key, then what we'll probably do is the same thing that we did a couple weeks ago is like get the suggestion box in the t-shirts that we have and ask for student suggestions if they would like a shirt. So that gets really exciting. So the more that we have, the better. Okay, I'll email what I have then. Great. So it's getting near the end of the semester, and I just wanted to take a couple minutes to hear any suggestions that any of you might have for all of us as an exec team. Anything that like we've done well or we could do differently that you've seen. Just like a moment for any of that. Just nice criticism.
I'll say something. So I was a part of MSG last semester and still am right now. You guys do a great job of productivity. You guys do a great job of being professional, and you guys definitely want to be here. So I'd say you guys do very well.
Thank you. Thanks so much. What do you need?
I would say like even though I was kind of thrown into it at the beginning of last semester, kind of pointed like I didn't really know what was going on. I think this semester has been a lot better about being productive, explaining to us what's going on. The binders were wonderful. That actually like let us know like what CSU is and like how our rules are. Because I feel like a lot of it last semester was like obviously execs were doing things, but we didn't know what you were doing, and the updates weren't like as helpful as they are now. So I think like those aspects in your like communication to us has improved a lot.
Thank you.
Yeah, I also think the way you restructured the meetings helped a lot because I know last year the committee time wasn't as formal and you didn't really get a lot done sometimes, so that helped a lot. And I also think the new fundraising thing helps a lot too. Like we can actually see what's happening, not just like being sent at us and kind of something out.
Thank you. Anybody else has anything?
Criticisms. Anything that can like make your experience in this better? You think we could do to make things more efficient, better? Anything?
You guys are all happy?
You guys are doing a great job. I don't know exactly how you would do this, but it feels like every semester we get off to a slow start. Like right now we're just like finally getting going and we're like basically done now. So
Mhm.
I don't really know how you fix
That-
that, but I just something to think about.
We definitely agree, and this is something we've all talked to each other about, with Michelle and Katie about, that we're trying to, that we're like working on. It's like hard since we have like, you guys, like some people just got elected, and like, it's just like that weird transition, so the fall's gonna be like more efficient, and so like, we get that too, we're the same like thing, trying to figure out ways to like make it more efficient right from the get-go, yeah.
I don't know if this is a great idea, but something to maybe think about is like trying to even if they don't get passed, like just writing more legislation in general. Because I think a lot of us are like, hey, let's talk about this idea, and then it kind of dies off because we don't see each other every week. Is maybe just have a goal to like write a piece of legislation every whatever often, and if it doesn't get passed, that's fine. That's how government works. And so we just need like stuff to get written and get discussed so we can have more productive meetings.
I completely agree, and I'm a huge advocate for like the majority of work that will get done from the Board of Representatives will happen outside of this Monday meeting and outside of the 15 minutes that you have in committee time. So I guess to kind of turn that back on you, Aditi, do you have any suggestions for like how we can make sure that that happens and how we can empower each other to write that legislation and keep each other accountable? So I think it's easy to say like, oh yeah, let's write legislation, and then
Right.
your week gets busy and you have homework and this and that, and then again it's Monday. Here you are.
I don't know. I'm not sure if like I don't know if there's I don't know what the efficient way to do it is that will be good for us and good for you guys.
I guess the best thing you can do is like everyone's open at this time, let's think about doing this in the future, so you know when you're gonna have that time outside of the committee.
Yeah, I guess the big thing too is don't feel like you can only like do things that relate to your committee. And, like if you're outside and you're like, oh my gosh, like this is a great idea, just like ask for like a piece of legislation to like kind of form off. If you want to write something, like that's totally fine. If you want to present it to like a different like, committee you think it applies to, that's totally fine. Just don't feel like confined to your one committee. You can definitely expand like into other options if you have ideas or things. Bring it to us, bring it to that committee.
And Cayman also has a book in his office of past legislation that just like has tons of ideas and things that are completely irrelevant now. But if you like just want to look at forms of like how people have written legislation in the past or just want to spark your ideas, that is available as well. Sarah.
Maybe if we had like a significant chunk of time as a committee towards the beginning of the semester to like, because it kind of takes a while to work through like what exactly your ideas are, and once we kind of get to that point, we get going.
Yes.
So maybe like the training at the beginning of the year, super helpful. Maybe if we had something like a couple weeks after that that was like an hour with the committee, because like with committee time you just get going and then you have to stop.
Mm-hmm.
But if we could just get to the point where we actually knew what we were doing, I think it would move very faster.
Definitely.
I think that's like basically like a brainstorming session at the beginning of each semester.
Mhm.
Meet with your committee and then share your ideas as a group or split up or whatever, so you have a bunch of ideas that you can work off of, and then as weeks go on you weed them out and then you write legislation for them. I think it's good.
I agree. I like that a lot. Thank you. Anyone else have anything to say about that? Okay. Does anyone have anything for open discussion tonight?
I have a question. Did the Sodexo thing get passed by the board of trustees? Like, what's going on with that?
With the whole plan for.
Yeah.
Um,
Supposed to talk about that last month, or something.
I have not heard back official word from Sodexo or
So
from.
it's going through like a lot of different bodies.
I
and,
will
like,
just-
that info doesn't get put out.
It is had and it went to the board of trustees, but they haven't told me anything official yet. So we'll see.
Michelle would know though.
No, like
No,
they keep that like they keep
Like
board
if
trustees
board of
stuff up for a
trustees stays
while,
with the
like,
board of trustees,
no
like
one, goes back and
like
forth.
well, I mean I can talk to people and
I
like
was
try to
wondering.
figure out, but
The meal plan part happened.
meal plan
That's
for
what they, or at least on the 2015-2016 tuition schedule.
okay.
There's the new meal plans.
Alright. I can get more
That gives you
information
a
on
hint.
that.
Okay, I just wanted to see where that was.
Yeah, I'm just like I feel like it's
There's one other thing, and I don't know if it's just Stacey's review about this, and also I heard that, they, like, Stacey, you tried to do something about this last semester, but is there any way that we could get the library hours to go back to?
Yeah. If Lulu was here tonight, she would be able to give a nice long spiel about that. So she's on the library council, and we talk about this again and again. So the reason that the library isn't going back to 2 a.m. is because they keep doing a survey and a poll around 1 a.m. and at 2 a.m. trying to see who is actually in the library, and at that time it's usually less than 10 people. So for the amount of money that it costs to staff the library and keep it open for longer, they don't think it's necessarily worth it. But I do know that they are potentially renovating the library and that they are thinking about like renovating some of the spaces, maybe potentially like the library commons. So that is space that is open 24/7. So that could, maybe be a better place to study. But as of right now, I don't think that they're going to be changing anything. So do you have anything?
That's right.
So yeah, that's where that is, unfortunately. So I guess quickly, I won't keep you forever. If the chairs will talk about what they did in their committee. I know Nick, you took over for Lulu today. What you guys covered in your committee?
We talked more about the Code 4 legislation. That's mainly being done by IRSG, and I'm meeting with the IRSG Director of Advancement, essentially, because we handle all the legislation. And so basically, I think IRSG is going to write that legislation, and CSU endorse it or probably make edits to it. So that should be coming out in the next couple of weeks. Should definitely be done for. The main thing we talked about. We'll go into
available on Thursday, April 16th from Monday through Thursday. You know, like if you have class Thursdays. You would be available.
If you split up into shifts.
Yeah, that was for sure the plan. Yep. Thursday, April 16th. Okay. Yeah, we just want to make sure like most people would be able to work at least like 1 half an hour shift during that time. And if not everybody can make it, like that's totally understandable. And I can I'm gonna go to reservations then and reserve that right after this, and then I can send out like a Google Doc.
Okay. What is Wildlife Job? Because I remember hearing about it first semester and I was never really sure what it was.
So we're trying to kind of make it like an open forum for like suggestions about CSU. You know, we'll all be there and just kind of talk to your CSU rep. We're kind of gonna encourage people to like know who their CSU rep is. Like we were thinking, you know, some T-shirts or whatever prizes if like tell us who your CSU rep is. And if you're right, you get a free T-shirt. That way people like kind of just like. And also we were thinking about having like some like charts about like how CSU is broken up and kind of like what CSU does, what you can things you can talk to your rep about, like things that are program politics, stuff like that. And if you guys have any other suggestions about it, like we're just throwing out ideas, so let me know.
It's kind of like reps at WAC, but better because we're giving them juice and coffee, and it's like more just us and less of program board in their activity. But that's. We love you and you're fun. But Sarah, that sounds fantastic. I think that would be really great to kind of inform the student body about what we are and what we're doing. So, fantastic. Thank you so much.
I actually have a question about the student listeners.
Sure.
How often are you sending out like forms?
Probably go monthly. I imagine as soon as like enough comes up, we can send them out because I don't want to like send them out once a week. Just about like one event, or else that's how I get people not subscribe. So it'll probably just be like once a month. So we'll probably start working on that.
And then probably send that one from a meeting instead of. Thank you. Okay, so I decided on campus planning, and we're working on some resolutions for green space and table/more seating on campus. So we had a great discussion, and we'll be working on that. Anybody else? Anyone have any student org announcements?
I just had one thing. Just make sure to keep in mind this meeting time when you're registering for classes for next semester. So, you know, don't like schedule classes Mondays at 5:15. So, just throw that out there.
We don't have any old business. There are no new business. Don't have any advisors. Alex, do we have any upcoming funded events?
Easter, done by the Lord.
Great. And on that note, we will adjourn at 6:15.
Our meeting. We are perfect.
I know, I'm not going to.
Okay. Can you please?
That's exactly what we're going to practice whispering.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, y'all were loud.
I'm sorry. This is.